Hello, friends. Welcome back to Get Happy, Be Fit. A couple of days ago, I responded to a question someone asked in a Facebook fitness group. This person had created a habit of exercising over the last couple of years. They were consistent about it, but they weren't losing weight because they said they had a terrible relationship with food. And this is a phrase I hear so often, having a bad relationship with food. And this is usually referring to the fact that they deal with overeating, comfort eating, and/or emotional eating. I have mentioned many times before that I dealt with disordered eating for a large portion of my life. I have dealt with bouts of starving myself and purging, usually because of the extreme guilt that resulted after emotional eating or comfort eating. It was a vicious cycle, and I honestly felt like I could never stop it, but I did. And now, before I say anything else, I am not a psychologist, therapist, or clinician of any sort. What I'm going to talk about is my specific experience and the things that helped me, and I do know that these things have helped others as well. But this is not a substitute for therapy or professional help. Therapy was by far the most helpful tool in helping me overcome these things. Some people have serious problems surrounding this, like I did. Others just need some help shifting their perspective and changing their habits when it comes to overeating, emotional eating, or comfort eating. I see so many people hold so much judgment toward themselves when they deal with these kinds of behaviors. They feel like there is something terribly wrong with them and that they've tried so hard, but they just don't have enough self-control to overcome it. So they think their relationship with food is quote unquote bad. And they often look at food that they love as quote unquote bad. They feel like wanting food and enjoying food is unhealthy, but it's not. Too much of anything and not enough of other things is ultimately unhealthy for our bodies. So when there isn't balance, it can cause health issues. But the things that drive those habits of overeating are internal, and they do not make you a bad person, and it's not because food or eating is intrinsically bad in and of itself. One of the first things I had to learn was to take away the judgment and simply notice my patterns. I started paying attention to what was going on mentally and physically when I was driven to these behaviors. I slowed down and became more aware without judgment. When people have the urge to overeat or binge eat, we do it in a mindless way because we know that if we actually slow down and think about and admit what we're doing, we'll feel bad. And we want to feel good, which is why we're going for the comfort of eating to begin with. And when that guilt sets in after the fact, it makes you feel worse, which can drive you to comfort eat more. One cheesy saying that I have seen proven true in my life, especially regarding this, is what you resist persists. All of this comes from that judgment that what we're doing in that moment is wrong, that we're being bad. We're placing judgment on ourselves and on food. So if I had a bad day and I really wanted to eat the, say, ice cream that was in the freezer, instead of grabbing it and eating it without letting myself be truly cognizant of what I was doing, I stopped and said, okay, this is what I want right now, and this is why. Maybe I was tired, sad, angry, hurt, or I hadn't eaten all day, so I felt like I was starving, and all I could think about for hours was eating everything that tastes amazing. Sometimes it was because I was bored. Then I would ask myself, is this really what I want? Will it actually make me feel better? Sometimes the answer was yes, and I went ahead and ate the ice cream. Sometimes I didn't, because the simple acknowledgement of what I was doing and the choice not to judge myself for it allowed me to slow down and be more mentally present, which can be very internally settling and centering. Sometimes, after slowing down and taking a second, I would give myself other options. If I was exhausted but not actually hungry, I'd do something relaxing, like take a bath, having some tea, and reading a book. If I was starving from not eating all day, I'd eat something healthy first and then have a small amount of the thing I was initially craving. And when I did choose to eat the ice cream or whatever it was, I made a point to slow down and really enjoy what I was eating without guilt, feeling a sense of gratitude for the fact that what I was eating did feel good. It tasted really good. You can enjoy that. This is part of conscious eating, which I do talk about a lot. When I started doing that, I tended to eat less. Slowing down is hugely helpful. But we tend to not want to slow down and notice our actions when we know guilt will be attached to them, which creates that vicious cycle and is why getting rid of that guilt can allow you to notice your actions and tendencies. Knowing those things about yourself can give you great insight into yourself, which is hugely helpful when trying to make different choices and create different habits. It's also important to realize that this behavior has served you in some way. In therapy, we talk a lot about the different tendencies and tools we've used, mostly subconsciously, over the years to protect ourselves and keep us safe from getting hurt. Oftentimes, as we get older, we find that those tendencies can cause issues in life and in our relationships. But looking at those aspects of ourselves with anger and judgment doesn't help because, again, what you resist persists. Acknowledging that these tendencies have served a purpose, that they protected us in the past in some way, but are no longer serving us, helps us let go of them, or in the very least, keeps them from running the show, giving us more control over our actions. Eating comfort food isn't intrinsically wrong or bad. Food hasn't been your enemy. It has served a purpose. It's given you comfort and has helped you emotionally in some way, or you wouldn't have kept doing it. Noticing that and accepting that will go a long way with your negative view of yourself and food. Remember that food is not your enemy. Loving food is not bad or wrong. You can find a way to make different choices and create different habits. You can love food and have balance in your relationship with it. All right, that's all for today.